Oh, sensory content.
Yeah.
That's cute. That's a cute name. So, I mean, beside you trying to eat really healthy, what does people usually eat in your side of the world? What's a typical day? I mean, like meal or like a eating habit?
I wouldn't really know really, but like, a lot of people in work, it's just like, it's like bacon and egg sandwiches and stuff every morning. And like in work, it would just be like, we call them they're probably the same everywhere, but they'll have like meal deals where you just go and get a sandwich and a packet of crisps for dinners and stuff. But to be fair, I think a lot of people tend to eat a lot of curries over here. They're like quite popular, and then lasagnas and you know, don't really know. I'm trying to think like probably what would they like the all. I've never really liked these, by the way, but obviously Rachel does as well. But like roast dinners on a Sunday, where it's like gravy, potatoes, broccoli. Generally, it's like chicken or something. They call them Yorkshire puddings, and I do like Yorkshire puddings though, to be fair, and stuff like that. I'd say a lot of chips, a lot of chips, not fries. Chips.
Yeah, yes, yes. I would just waiting for this beautiful conversation that you would call it chips, what we call it fries. I mean, I
Oh,
love many things about British. I like many things about British English, but not this one. This one I can't.
to be fair though, we have fries here as well. They're just generally skinnier, where fries are quite chunky chips. So I'd say a lot of stuff like that, but I think it's probably typical for quite a lot of countries really. But like people will just eat quite a lot out of jars. You know what I mean? They'll go and buy a sauce or go buy something. Obviously, not
Mhm.
saying we're perfect, but generally sauces and stuff like that we try and make ourselves. And there was quite a big. Don't know. It might be different elsewhere. Like if people are used to growing up cooking and stuff, but like there's like quite a bit of these like I don't know what the brands are, but like Hello Fresh and Gusto, where like you sort of get the ingredients delivered to your house. But it's a great way of trying new stuff. And we try to always we've done them and we get them like if you can get the offers and stuff. But um, so a lot of I do know people who do that and they'll give it a go. But generally, I'd say it's quite boring, really. We'd be like, I think pretty much most people are eating potatoes every day, mash, chips, spuds or something. Trying to think what my friends would eat, but like maybe I don't eat it obviously, but steak and things like that. But I don't know how many people are cooking Persian dishes from scratch, or actually cooking curries from scratch, or from things like that. Or we even have a go at trying to make Chinese noodles and stuff, ourselves rather than just getting it. But yeah, I don't think it's probably the healthiest diet going.
That's true. And what's the most popular international cuisine in the UK? You think?
Oh, oh, Rachel shouted downstairs. She thinks it's pizza, but I think it would probably be I think it would be a curry.
Really? Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think have Indian curry because I just think people will get a lot of takeouts and stuff, but obviously there's a lot of pizza. I mean, to be fair, we have Pizza Friday. That's what we call it, and we'll have some sort of pizza. We've had a go at trying to make those ourselves as well, a couple of them. So found these as well because I found that bread's quite highly processed as well. So found these like I don't even know what they are to be honest, but they were like some sort of wrap naan bread type thing somewhere in between. But I was reading on the back of it and it was like next to no ingredients on it. So it's like obviously not highly processed or anything. They did say they could be used as pizza bases because we were using like letting the kids make their own pizzas, but rather than making a dough base, you would just use a wrap and then you'd put like the sauce on it and stuff. So we started using them, but they're really good as a pizza base to be fair. But obviously it's not authentically pizza, but yeah, I might have to Google that one afterwards and see who's right. But pizza, I reckon it's probably an Indian because we have quite a lot of, even where we live, it's either a Chinese restaurant or an Indian restaurant for takeaway generally. So
Yes, I mean, I was waiting to hear some sort of Italian food definitely be on the top of the list. They conquered everywhere in the world. Even in Turkey, they have they're really proud of their cuisine and they're really proud of their food. Yet people every time in my classes I ask people, so what's your favorite food? Like 10 out of 10 pizza is is there, and it's just sometimes weird that, okay, but what about Turkish food? But they love pizza very much. And I mean, to be fair, pizza by itself, it's somehow really Mediterranean, and you kind of may say that because they have their own type of pizza in this region. When we say pizza, it comes to to my mind that it's Italian pizza, but maybe they're just referring to their own type of pizza, which is quite similar to Italian one. Maybe not the type that we are familiar with, but the type that they eat here. But yes, definitely pizza is really interesting.
We've got it's literally just up the road, but it's an Italian, but the guy who owns it, well, I don't know if he still owns it, but his name was Luciano. He was actually a proper Italian. But he only employs Italian people. So there's an English guy on the desk who can now speak Italian, because obviously he just serves and takes orders, but they will only employ real Italians, and they don't speak a word of English. And that is some of it's, as far as takeaway pizzas go, it is restaurant quality pizzas, and they do a lot of pastas and stuff. But I suppose if you're getting a takeaway, generally people don't really get a lot of pasta, but it's linked on to the Italian restaurant. But I don't know if he still owns it all. He used to be, because he actually lives around here, but you'd always see him at the Liverpool football matches. He always had the best seats, and he drove a Ferrari and stuff like that, so he was quite well off. But he originally started that, which was because, like everything, it's ended up a lot of stuff's like these franchises, like we have Greg's over here and stuff. But when I was a kid, where that Italian restaurant is, it was called the Ye Old Bakehouse, and there was two old women who used to run it, and me and my friend used to go in the morning, and it was called, this is probably how bad English cuisine is, it's called a pie mix barm. So like the stuff they would put in the middle of a pie, they didn't put in the middle of a pie, they put it on a barm cake, so like a sandwich. And it was like 40 pence going to school, and they were the best thing ever. So that's where that is. But it's they've obviously they'll be long gone, them too now. But you don't really get a lot of, like, when I was a kid round here, you get like a lot of, like, pie shops and stuff, and it'd all be handmade and stuff. And I'm sure some of it is still handmade now, but they're all like massive brands and stuff. There is a couple of smaller ones that only operate in Wigan, and they'll have like a few shops and stuff. But that's what Wigan's famous for. I don't know, is the pies, but that's what they call it. They call it a Wigan kebab, but it's not. It's you've just got a pie, and then it's on a barm cake. So we call them a bread bun, like a burger bun, basically. So.
Interesting. I should Google that to see a picture of that. I
can
detect stuff, but
there's an American guy, and he's a bit like a Texas cowboy sort of thing. He's got long black hair, and he's got like his cowboy hat on. He goes around the UK trying English food, but he was actually in Wigan. He's like, I'm in Wigan trying a Wigan kebab, but it's literally just a pie on a burger bun. So
that's interesting. Yeah, but, I mean, especially for me, even though I'm living outside Iran for many years, still when I hear the word kebab, the first thing that comes to my mind is like the Persian version of it, or the Iranian, or even the Turkish version of it, like a stick and meat on a stick. That would be kebab. Anything other than that, it is not kebab officially.
Yeah, you still get that, but they're just takeaways. They're like, and they're more for like when you've had a couple of beers. It's like for drunk people basically, and it's probably not very good. But I think I've said this, there is like nowhere at work, and it's where all the footballers live. So like, do you remember Edison Cavani, who played for Manchester United and stuff? He lived there, and it's like quite the posh part. And they've got, and it says authentic Persian restaurants. Well, I think I've possibly shared the menu, and it's like there's none of the stuff that you guys talk about.
Oh yes. Yes, the one with the hummus in the menu, was it the same one?
It probably will
be.
There's not really a lot of like the stuff you guys would talk about, or even like when I've looked at Persian stuff, there's not a lot on there. It's the same with the Turkish. There's a few Turkish restaurants around there, but just working away. It was during COVID, because you couldn't. I remember we were allowed to go and get takeaways, but you couldn't eat in the restaurant. You could only literally, so they let the restaurants open, and I was working away, so you would basically have to go and collect your food, and the only place you could eat it is back at your hotel. And it was this it was a Turkish restaurant, but honestly, it's some of the nicest food. I went back, the guy was Turkish himself, and like I said to him, I was like, I don't normally leave reviews at places unless it's really bad, or like exceptionally good. And I went back, I had to go and get the same thing again the next day. It was that good. And I was like, he gave me a freebie. He was like, are you the guy who left the review? I was like, oh yeah. So like, so good. Even the basics of the bread, it's just bread, but even that was just like, I could have just sat there and ate this bread all day. It's absolutely stunning, but it's quite far away. It's near London, so it's not like I can just nip down. I think it was in like Milton Keynes or something like that. So I'm gutted, but I was recommended to go there because he said the people, it was near their head office and that's where they take everyone all the time. But that was, I don't think you could buy chips there or anything like that. It was all authentically Turkish, and that's one of the nicest things I've eaten. But then I've suggested going for Turkish food near work, and it's not. It's like literally going to one of these, or it's at least adapted to the English taste. So, but I suppose they are a business, aren't they? So they've got to operate within whatever's going to sell. So,
have you made that Persian appetizer, the zeytun parvar, the one that we talked about, or no?
No, but I have got now. I went actually not so long back because the problem was finding the actual the pomegranate syrup, and I should make it really because I've got it now. Yes. And I think I can't remember what the spice you said was, and it's actually, and that's what, to be honest, it's actually growing in the garden, so it's kind of, but I could make it without that. I suppose I should do really because I've got this like pomegranate molasses there that I'm absolutely not using. So, and we always have, is it walnuts it uses it with?
Yes, walnuts too.
We've got bags of walnuts, so I only really need to go and actually get some like pomegranate seeds, which really, and I'll probably be able to make it. So I should do really. Is there a
I really want to know.
Is it a specific olive you should use?
No. Any olive without the seed inside. So any seedless olive would do. And most of the time, we rather do it with smaller ones because we want the taste of this marinated sauce would go into every and each olive. So the smaller they are, the better it tastes. With bigger olives, the ratio of the sauce and the olives are not really quite there. We normally rather do that, and especially if I don't know if you like it or not. There are some olives which are less genetically changed, and they are a little bit bitter in taste. So they're still quite like the old variety of olives many years ago. So probably not the Spanish or the Turkish type. If you can find like some less big or smaller one, and if they taste bitter, that would be great, because it would taste more authentic. But it can be any type of olive, to be honest.
Yeah, to be
just
fair,
an extra tip.
We've even got olives in the fridge anyway, so we could probably make it. To be honest, probably not that hard, but I should do it. But I think that's the thing as well. When we first went, we met the midwife was Persian, and I forget what the conversation was, but she was like, it reminded me of you, to be honest, because she was asking about like the way you pronounce stuff, and she asked, was that right? You know what I mean? I think it was something to do with the time and stuff, and she's like, oh, I'm always wanting to know like the correct way you would say stuff in English and stuff, and it just made me laugh, and I was like, oh, and then it was I actually mentioned you, and then it turned out she was Persian as well, and I thought, so maybe it's something in your blood.
It's a Persian.
But then I actually mentioned that dish, and she was like, oh, I'm going back, and she was like, I think she gave us her number. She was like, message me and I'll go and pick you up that spice. And I was like, oh my God, I can't ask someone I've just met to do that. But she was adamant she was going to do it. So she was really lovely, to be fair. So I've obviously never met her again, but it was funny. She was adamant that she was going back to Persia and she'd get us like whatever spice we needed or something. I thought it was really funny, but yeah, she was absolutely lovely. But she was asking, and I was like, because she asked, and she was like, oh, is that right? And I was like, yeah, no, that's the correct way you would say it. And like how you would say the time in English and stuff. And she was like, but she could speak and write better than me. That's probably the same for you as well, like, anyway, but she was adamant that she said it the correct way, and I just thought it was funny. Or she was asking questions about it, and I just thought it reminded me of you, to be honest. So it was funny. And she was Persian as well.
I hope it reminded you of me in a good way, not in a bad way. Someone who is obsessed with correctness.
No, she was lovely as well. So it was really good. We don't go and see them. I don't anyway. So I don't know if Rachel's ever seen her again.
No. Okay. How far is Rachel, by the way? How far is she?
Rachel How many weeks are you now?
You're
29.
supposed to know.
Well, I know it's due. I know it's like due mid to end of September. So, but weeks. I don't know. I got into trouble, and it was only because like I have like it which is odd because like you tell people, especially the way I'm in work and stuff, and like bossing people around and stuff. Just not like they're not actually any. They don't work for me, but I just do it as like a comedy sketch, say, just to lighten the mood or whatever. But like, I went to Eddie's school and they had like, I hate it, and I had to take him in late because we'd taken him to the dentist. So I was already stressed about taking him to the dentist because there's people there I don't know and I've got to meet them for the first time, and then don't go in, don't act weird, don't say anything weird, and then I couldn't remember Eddie's birthday, and I was putting in Winnie's, and I was like flapping about it, and I was so annoyed with myself because I never forget the kids' birthdays or anything, because I just felt like I was under so much pressure. And then the woman come out and she's like, "Oh, do you not know his birthday?" And she's like, "Oh, it's the 8th." I was like, "Oh my god," I knew that, and I was putting Winnie's in the 25th, and I was just panicking because I had to put it into the screen. I was like, "Oh." So that was embarrassing. She was like, "Oh, there was another dad earlier who couldn't remember the birthday," and I was like, "Oh god, so annoying." Because I never forget, but it was literally just the pressure. Well,
I understand the pressure. So she's gonna be a September girl.
yes, which is good as well, because like our school years run September to September, so it's probably like I've seen it with Eddie. You take him into school, and because he's November, he's like one of the oldest in the year. But then you compare them to the youngest at that age, a year's so massive. And you've got a head start, haven't you? Because you've got literally a year on the other students. So it's probably for the best, really. She's later in the year, but it just means we have 3 birthdays, like sort of between September and November. So that's great. Very expensive.
September girls are the best anyway. I mean, not that I am one of them, but in general. All right. Thank you so much, Dean. Thank you so much for the time. It was a great chat. I'm so happy that you accepted. Thank you so much. We talked about so many great things. I can actually make 2 videos out of this. One talking about food, one talking about gardening, because the gardening part was also really interesting. Thank you so much.
No problem. But I kind of had a feeling, to be honest, because I chat so much. Like I just want to start, I can't stop. So I was like, oh, I thought when you said it'll take 15 minutes, I was like, I bet it doesn't. I bet I ain't taking up half the day. So.
Oh, she's so naive. She's so naive. 15 minutes, sure. That's great. I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate the time, and thank you so much. And I hope we will have a group chat sometime soon. I mean, it's good to have everybody.
I know. But well, what's left of us anyway? So that's
yes. As you said, they just muted us. I mean, I muted us too, but I muted.
I'm the only one who's not on mute. I just get my own messages.
Yes, we are so rude. We have to go think about our very rude actions and behaviors.
Fine, it's fine.
Thank you so much. Have a great day and enjoy.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.